Hi everyone, I'm Chef Leroy and welcome to my cozy kitchen. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I certainly am. The weather here in Minnesota is extremely hot. For the 2nd of October, it is almost 90 degrees here. Crazy warm. Anyway, I'm going to do an indoor dish today, and I am actually going to make a lamb ragu. Okay, I got my lamb that I slow cooked a while back and vacuum packed, and guess what? Evan Armour chamber vacuum sealer. And I've got my stewed tomatoes, which I also did a video on recently, and I vacuum packed and froze using my Abbott Armour chamber vacuum sealer. So this is my stewed tomatoes and lamb. This is 1 pound of cooked lamb, and I believe the bag, I'm gonna measure out my sauce. I think it's around 3 cups, but I'll measure that out just so we know. Okay, now we're making basically like a bolognese sauce, which is a meat sauce. And traditional bolognese is with onion, which I'm going to use red onion. I have celery, carrots, but I'm going to also add a sweet bell pepper to mine. Now, the big twist on my meal is I'm not using pasta. I'm going to use Zoodles. Yes, zucchini noodles. So anyway, we're going to get going on this project. Let me get the camera down here. I'll show you how to get this vegetables all cut up, and we'll get it rolling. Okay, these are the items you'll need for your dish, okay, lamb ragu. So again, we've got our stewed tomatoes I'm using, or a tomato product you'll need your meat. I'm using 1 pound of meat. All right, I've got about an equivalent of a half of a red onion here. I've got 3 ribs of celery, 2 medium-sized carrots, and 1 medium to large sweet bell pepper. This is optional. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some oil to the pot. Okay, I've got a medium-sized saucepan here. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now, I'm not going to add any garlic or anything else because my stewed tomatoes already had all that luscious flavor in it. Now, if you don't have that and you're using canned tomatoes or something, then you might want to use some garlic and a little additional seasonings like oregano, thyme, basil. Okay, so we've got our oil in our pot. Let's go ahead and get the vegetables prepped. Move everything out of the way here. Let's go ahead and cut up that red onion. It's kind of fell apart because I've had this in my refrigerator for a bit, which is fine. So we're just going to cut it into, dice it up here. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want your vegetables too big though. Not for the sauce. Just go ahead and dice all this up. All right, so there you go. Onions are ready. Now, before I put them in my pot, I want to measure how much onion I have, just to give you an idea of what I have here. So it's just shy of a full cup of loosely packed onion. Just go ahead and toss that right into your pan. So that way, if you don't really know what your measurement would be, if you're just pulling it out of your refrigerator to cut it up, it's about a cup of red onion, okay? All right, let's go ahead and cut these ribs of celery down. So I'm going to cut them into long strips here. So they're small dice is what you want. And dice them. I'll go ahead and measure this in that cup too. See how much celery I have with 3 ribs. It looks like it's going to be about a cup roughly. A little more than a cup maybe, or let's see, right up to the top, pretty close. All right, there you go. So that's a little bit more than the onion, but 1 cup. So we've got 1 cup onion, 1 cup celery. All right, let's go ahead and peel these carrots here. All right, carrots are peeled. Let's go ahead and trim off the ends, stem end, and other end, just a small trim. All right, I like to cut my carrots down to be a little more manageable. Again, you want to cut them about the same size you did your celery and onion. Okay, so cut it like this. So that one end is a little bit thicker. And just like that. Okay, nice small little dice. Okay, there you go. Carrots are cut. Let's go ahead and use that measuring cup again just to see how much carrot we have. And it's a little bit more than a cup, which is fine. So you could technically do cup, cup, and a cup. So cup onion, cup celery, and cup carrot. That would be perfectly fine. All right, let's go ahead and get our peppers set up here. Pop that core out of there and seed it quick. Now this dish shouldn't take too long because I already have my sauce pretty much done, having those stewed tomatoes. All right, same thing with a pepper. Go ahead and julienne it and dice it. So you slice it and then you dice it. Louis, come here. Got a treat for you. My sous chef Louis loves bell peppers. Here you go, buddy. There you go. I think I dropped a little piece on the floor too if you want to check. All right. Peppers are diced in the pot. All right, then we're going to get this right on the stove and get it started. All right, I got my peppers, my pepper, onion, carrot, celery in my pot. And again, this is a medium-sized saucepan. Should be perfectly fine. I got my temperature up to a medium-high heat, and let's go ahead and just let them cook. All right, while my vegetables are cooking, I wanted to measure my sauce. I want to see how many cups I have here. And it looks to me like I'm going to end up with about 4 cups. And sorry, I'm off screen for a minute here. All right, so I have a little bit over 4 cups of sauce. I would say that if you're at 4 cups, you're perfectly fine. Now, this is really thin sauce. It will have to be cooked down because you want this ragu to be nice and thick. So, well, here you go. So we got a cup, 4 cups, almost 5 cups total of sauce. All right, so now you know. Continue to saute these vegetables, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the onions to become a little bit more clear or translucent, as people would say. Now I would say that if you didn't have the stewed tomatoes, which I'm telling you this recipe is really, really good, and it uses a pressure cooker, which is nice. I like using gadgets. You could use chopped tomatoes from the store. You could use a combination of tomato sauce and chopped tomatoes. I might do it that way. I think the fire roasted diced tomatoes are excellent. So those are some tips for you there. All right, that's looking lovely. So let's go ahead and add our sauce. Beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and add that lamb right away. Again, this is 1 pound of slow cooked lamb, which turned out excellent. It's a leg of lamb. All right, so I'm going to keep it on a medium-high temperature. I'm going to cook this down a bit. I want the liquid to be not so watery, right? So that's the goal. All right, let's let her cook. Let's go ahead and get going on those zucchinis that we got set up over there. Here's my zoodler. So I've got a blade in here that's how the blade looks. These little machines are pretty awesome. You can do other types of vegetables on it too, different slices and stuff. All right, what we need to do is go ahead and cut the stem end off and just leave the other end alone. And I'll show you why. Go. Okay, now I don't know if I need all 4 of these for this dish, but I'm just going to be prepared to do it. All right, so we got to put our zucchini on the machine, and then we roll it forward. What I like to do is pull it off. I have a plate right below it to catch the zoodle. I don't like mine to be too long, so I go ahead and pop them off like this. I run it through a couple cranks, and then I pull it off like this. Okay, just throw it right on the plate. All right, you get all the way to the end here, and now you've got like a really cool looking mushroom. But you could do this piece here, I'll throw that into my sauce. So you just cut it up like this and throw it right in with your sauce for your lamb ragu. Just like that. All right, the zoodles are done, and I did all 4 of those zucchini. I'm gonna just dump them right into my container here, off my plate. And there you go, you're ready for your dinner. Now this is a fantastic alternative to pasta if you're not into carbs or you can't have gluten, right? So this is a fantastic way to deal with that. Okay, we're back at this sauce, and I've actually been simmering this for well over an hour, and it's quite a bit less watery, as you can see here. I'll use my spoon and you can see that there's not as much liquid. I'm going to turn this off the way it is right now. I think that it's going to turn out fantastic when I do it with my zoodles. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get my other pan on, and I'm going to take this one off and get the zoodles started. I'm going to put just a touch in there, a tablespoon. Shouldn't need too much because it's a non-stick pan. Go ahead and kick it on. I'm going to kick it up on high. Okay, let's go ahead and get those zoodles in the pan. Nice and hot. I'm going to go ahead and add all of them to the pan. I got a pair of tongs here to move them around. You're just going to cook them until they get tender, and then add that sauce to it. Medium heat. Let's go ahead and add some of our sauce. Now I don't know that I need all of this sauce in there. This might be too much. We're just going to go ahead and add my lamb ragu right to the zoodles. I think I'm going to stop at that amount right there. It's about half of what I had in the pan. What I can do is measure out what I have left in here, and just to get an idea how much I have. And guess what? This will be vacuum packed the following day. Whatever you do, don't try to vacuum pack anything hot. It's not a good plan. That looks really good, guys. That looks really good. It's a little watery now because the zucchini released some of its moisture now that I've added that tomato to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it simmer nicely like this. Okay, there you go. Now I got one more remaining thing that I want to do with this is I've got some goat cheese that I'm going to put on top. I think it's just going to be fantastic. And then I'll cover it up and let that melt on top. Beautiful. Alright, I'll show you what it looks like when I'm plating it up, and I'll have a photo of it, of our whole dish. I'm also doing some Parmesan crusted cauliflower as well as part of my dish. Anyway, I will do a little recap of our meal today. Alright guys, I'm going to do a little recap on a lamb ragu with zoodles that we made today. So zoodles are a fantastic alternative to pasta, especially if you cannot have gluten. So try it with that. Again, the stewed tomatoes were from a previous video. Follow that recipe if you want to do it the same way I did this. You can use canned tomatoes. Again, I had 1 pound of cooked lamb that was also from a previous meal. And as I showed you, both bags were sealed with my Avid Armor chamber vacuum sealer. That's a game changer in my kitchen. Anyway, I hope the video was easy enough to follow along with and you enjoyed it. Please give me a couple thumbs up if you did. Thank you all out there that have subscribed to the channel up to this point. Again, subscriptions are free. Please subscribe if you haven't. That would be fantastic. Also, leave me a comment if you have any comments or have any suggestions or want something answered. I will get to those comments as soon as I see them. Otherwise, you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching My Cozy Kitchen. Chef Leroy, and out.